Hello, survivalists and food enthusiasts. Today, we're going to discuss 15 foods that you can stockpile, confident that they will never expire. Whether you're preparing for emergencies or just looking to build a well-stocked pantry, these foods are essential. Dive in as we look at the 15 foods to stockpile that never expire. Honey. Honey has the ability to be preserved for an infinite amount of time due to the processing that the bees used on the honey and the packaging that the companies employ. In reality, the oldest jar of honey that has been ever discovered was 5,500 years old. Beans. Non-perishable food options such as dry beans and canned beans are excellent alternatives since they have a long shelf life and a high nutritious content. The shelf life of dry beans may range anywhere from 10 to more than 10 years depending on the packaging, whereas canned beans can be stored at room temperature for 2 to 5 years. As a matter of fact, a survey discovered that 80% of individuals on a panel for emergency food usage judged pinto beans to be edible even after they have been preserved for 50 years. Nut butter. Nut butter is tasty, nutrient-dense, and creamy all at the same time. Although the temperature at which peanut butter is stored may have an effect on its shelf life, commercial peanut butter can be stored at room temperature for up to 9 months. Furthermore, natural peanut butter, which does not include any preservatives, may be stored for up to 3 months at a temperature of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can only be stored for 1 month at a temperature of 77 degrees. But that's not all. Based on the information provided by the United States Department of Agriculture, almond butter may be stored at room temperature for up to 1 year, but cashew butter can be stored for up to 3 months. Dried fruits and vegetables. Although the majority of fresh fruits and vegetables have limited shelf life, fruit and vegetables that have been dried are regarded to be non-perishable. It is possible to securely keep the majority of dried fruits at room temperature for up to 1 year if they are properly preserved, and dry vegetables may be stored for around half of that amount of time. For example, you have the option of selecting from a wide range of dried fruits and vegetables such as dry carrots, apples, tomatoes, and berries. Thus, it is possible to avoid rotting by using vacuum-sealed packaging. In addition, dried vegetables may be rehydrated by including them in stews or soups in the event that fresh food is unavailable. Vinegar. The majority of vinegars have a shelf life that is almost endless, as stated by the Vinegar Institute. As a result of its acidic composition, vinegar is capable of preserving itself, and it is also an excellent preservative for both other foods and beverages. If it is kept correctly, white vinegar will not change in color or appearance over time. On the other hand, other forms of vinegar such as wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar may undergo changes in color or appearance. However, the Vinegar Institute asserts that these modifications are mostly of an aesthetic nature and that the vinegar will continue to be of excellent quality for consumption. Instant coffee. There will always be that one day when you have run out of the fresh stuff and you will do everything to obtain a cup of coffee without having to leave the home. In the event that you have a jar of instant coffee ready for those days of irritation, you will find that such days are becoming less frequent and more infrequent. To add insult to injury, instant coffee may remain in your cupboard for a considerable amount of time. Canned fish and poultry. Fresh fish and poultry are very perishable, despite the fact that they are loaded with an abundance of nutrients. Canned variants, on the other hand, may be stored without the need of refrigeration for extended periods of time that can last for up to 5 years at ambient temperature. Moreover, tuna and other fish items are available in lightweight containers known as retort pouches. The shelf life of seafood that is found in retort pouches may last for up to 18 months. Nuts and seeds. As a result of their portability, high nutritional density, and shelf stability, nuts and seeds are considered to be non-perishable dietary staples. They are also wonderful to have on hand in any circumstance since they are versatile. When stored at or close to room temperature, nuts have a shelf life of around 4 months on average. However, the shelf life of different types of nuts might vary substantially. When stored at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, cashews may be stored for up to 6 months, although pistachios can only be stored for 1 month at the same temperature. Grains. Since whole grains such as oats, rice, and barley have a shelf life that is much longer than that of other popular but perishable forms of carbohydrate, such as bread, they are an excellent option for the preservation of food for an extended period of time. For instance, brown rice may be stored at temperatures between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit for up to 3 months, but farro can be stored at ambient temperature for up to 6 months. Jerky. Preserving meat has been a process that has been used since ancient times in order to prevent the spoilage of sources of protein. To be more specific, jerky is produced by first allowing the beef to cure in a salt solution and then drying it off. When processing, it is not uncommon to make sure of various additives, including flavorings, preservatives, and others. There is a wide variety of jerky available, including those made from beef, fish, chicken, and buffalo. There are also alternatives to jerky that are created from plant-based ingredients such as coconut, banana, and jackfruit. However, it is important to keep in mind that these alternatives do not have the same nutritional value as jerkies made from beef. Thus, the United States Department of Agriculture suggests that handmade jerky be stored at room temperature for no more than 2 months. Also, jerky that is purchased from a shop may be securely stored in the pantry for up to 1 year. Granola and protein bars. Due to the fact that they have a long shelf life and are packed with nutrients, granola and protein bars are the foods that campers and hikers turn to most often. Granola bars may be stored at room temperature for up to 1 year without losing their freshness. According to the same principle, the majority of protein bars have a shelf life of at least 1 year. Nevertheless, it is recommended to check the label on particular goods for information on their expiry date. Soups. At room temperature, the majority of canned soups have a low acid content and may be stored for up to 5 years. The exception to this rule is variants that are based on tomatoes, which have a shelf life of around 18 months. In spite of the fact that the majority of dry soup mixes should be able to be stored for up to a year, it is recommended to check the labels for the expiry dates. Freeze-dried meals. For the purpose of removing water from food and allowing it to remain at room temperature for a longer period of time, freeze-drying makes use of sublimation, which is a process in which ice is directly turned into vapor. Because of their low weight and mobility, freeze-dried meals are a popular choice among those who go on backpacking trips. Some freeze-dried meals come with a flavor guarantee that lasts for 30 years, and they are designed to be stored for an extended period. Milk and non-dairy milk. It is necessary to store fresh milk and some non-dairy alternatives, such as almond and coconut milk, in the refrigerator. However, shelf-stable milk and a large number of non-dairy milk are designed to be stored at room temperature. The processing and packing of shelf-stable milk is distinct from that of conventional milk due to the fact that it is heated to higher degrees and packaged in completely sterile containers. With a temperature range of 40 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, shelf-stable milk has a shelf life of up to 9 months. In a similar manner, beverages derived from plants, such as soy milk, which are packed in flexible materials such as plastic, paper, and aluminum, have a shelf life of up to 10 months. Although canned coconut milk may contain up to 5 years when stored at ambient temperature. Maple syrup. If you keep it in the freezer, your descendants will be able to enjoy the only maple syrup that is 100% pure as a delicious pancake topping long after you're gone. If not, you may put it in the pantry and forget about opening it for 20 years. Having a well-stocked pantry is essential for any emergency preparedness plan. By including these 15 foods in your stockpile, you can ensure that you have a supply of nutritious and long-lasting foods that will never expire. Let me know in the comments which foods you plan to stockpile